Did that do anything?
Yeah, broadcast is live apparently.
All right. What is going on, everyone? Welcome. I am super excited to start off a new series here. Where I live, we have wintertime. Wintertime gives us a lot of snow, cold weather, so it's not the best conducive riding conditions possible. So it is not allowing me to ride outside. So basically, I started to think, like, what can I do? Let's do a live stream. So basically, this is going to give us the opportunity to have a little bit more of a Q&A and just some fun, basically talking about the industry like that. And I get to bring really fun people like Scott Davies. Thank you so much, man, for coming to the talk today. How you
My
doing?
absolute pleasure. Yeah, great. Awesome. How are you?
I'm good, man. So this is just a test run. This is just to kind of see how this is supposed to look and how everything kind of runs and whatnot. This is brand new for me. I basically have a throw together setup here, but I just want to kind of see exactly how this looks and how it works out.
Number
But
one,
I
number
think
one tip
it's
for live stream: just make sure you got good internet. I've gone live a
good
few
internet.
times and the internet's dropped out just midstream, or it gets all staticky, and you can have
Yeah,
no lights be going from your phone, but if you've got good internet, that's all that matters.
that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually did. So the Insta360 the other day has a YouTube live feature built into it. You ever try that before?
Not yet. Not on the Insta. I know my friend who does a lot of tech reviews, Danny Black. He tried to go live 6 months ago, or maybe a little bit earlier, 4 months ago, and it just wouldn't work. So I've gone live on
Yeah.
GoPro a few times, and it's just really, if you're moving, if you're skating, it's really choppy. But the Insta apparently is a little bit better. The app almost like buffs the internet, so that when you're skating, it's not, when you're moving, quickly, it's not all blocky and staticky.
It was kind of difficult for me. It was choppy. And like it cut out halfway through I was riding. So
Yeah,
it's based
yeah,
off of your phone's internet, and it basically lets you like showcase on there. But I was like, oh, let me try this out, and I wrote on there. I like deleted it like 20 minutes later
yeah,
because it just looked so horrible. So, but
yeah. It's
yeah, this is
it's
just
hard.
this will be fun. This will be a good segue into getting to getting to know people behind the industry that basically make the stuff that we love to ride and things like that. So
Yeah,
I just really kind of to check this out and see what's going on.
yeah. Speak of the
Oh, there's
devil,
Craig Taylor.
yeah, we were just talking about him. That's the Craig
Yeah.
I was talking about, who's coming with me from Australia.
Oh, Craig, can't wait to meet you, man. That's fantastic. Yo, what's up, Thomas? How you doing, brother? Yeah, this is fun. So I mean, I would love to have more people in the industry on here, and I think it's going to be kind of dictated to what the audience does and see how people show up,
Mm,
and like the content here. I mean, if it's something that people are into, and we can go from there, then we can make more people join the show here. Sorry, I'm like looking at like 55 things as I'm like talking
No, no,
here.
no. Of course, and with live streams, it's one of those things that if you've got something to talk about, then you'll have an audience. You know what I mean? If you're going live just because, oh, it's the first of the month, I said I'd go
Right,
live, and you're just struggling to find a topic, then
right,
just don't bother going live. Don't set yourself that I'm going to go live once a month. Say, we're going to go
yeah,
live when we've got something interesting to talk about, or we've got a cool guest to feature, and
yeah.
the
I agree.
and the audience will respond. You look at some of the guys who, there's definitely good examples of channels that have used live stream to their benefit to grow, and there's definitely lots of examples of people who've used live stream to their what's the word? Not negative. There's a word can't think of. Detriment.
Right.
Where they haven't taken the time to set up properly or think about what they want to do or share or their message. So,
Yeah.
you're a smart guy. I'm sure you'll make it work the right way.
Yeah, the like I said, we have a few people lined up already. We have one of the owners of Shredlights said that he would join us, so that'll be a pretty fun one. An engineer from Hoyt skateboard company said he would jump on here too, and a few other of the like Instagram, YouTube guys that are out there that are making big content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Reached out to just one or two of them and kind of have them on here to get their stories and stuff like that too.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's
What's up,
crazy
Corey?
seeing
How you doing, brother?
the change of content creators sort of almost moving away from YouTube and making much more short, sharp, sort of 1 minute, just stylized ride footage on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook stories and all that. It's
Yeah.
there's a whole new generation of creators out there. It's crazy.
It's it's one of those things where Instagram is something that you can like quickly put something together. It holds your attention very
Yeah.
short. And, I think with YouTube Shorts even, I think that they're trying to step in that direction with the TikTok and Instagram,
Yeah.
things like that. So it's definitely one of those, it's inspirational in that sense. YouTube is, it can be hard. I always tell people, like, just do it, period, end of story. Don't even bother thinking about it. Just get on there, make something you're interested in. That's how I got started in it. And, you really, you'll find your way, you'll blaze your path, you'll figure it out along the way. But just creating content, something that you want to make and see, it's easy to get on there.
Yeah.
I saw Thomas posted something.
We've got a question for you, Drew, from Thomas.
What's that?
What inspired you to get into e-skate?
So that's pretty funny. So my e-skate career has been probably 2 years in the making now. So 2020 happened. The world ended, as we all know it, right? And I was watching a drone video from Skydio, the autonomous drone that follows you, which I have yet to use, but one of my friends has one.
When I'm in Vegas, I'm going to buy one because we can't get them in Australia.
Oh, no way.
They
yeah, definitely.
Because they offer no support. So I'm willing to take that risk, and I'll buy one when I'm over there.
Smart. No, that's absolutely smart. Yeah, so it was so I picked up a one wheel. I saw a Skydio. This guy was riding through the woods, and I was like, yo, this drone is flying itself. It's so insane. And then all of a sudden I look at him like, wait, what is this guy riding right now? He's just like ripping through the woods on this one wheel. And I was like, went from me wanting to buy the drone to I literally the next day bought a one wheel. And that started my personal electric vehicle, in that sense. And then as like a year later, not even years, like probably 6 months later, I was getting my haircut, and my barber, I still accredit it to him. I actually just let him, I just talked to him the other day about this, that he had a Meepo V3 hub edition. And he was like, yo, man, you ride this thing all the time. He's like, hop on this. I was like, all right, I'll check it out. I was like, I used to skateboard all the time, longboard. I still have my board in the car. And I hopped on that thing, hit it, like the skateboard flew off. I was like, this is way faster than my other board or my one wheel. So I got hooked, and I went home and bought a used one right away. And that kind of like launched me. It was the freedom of being able to like go that 10 to 12 miles at 22 miles an hour. And be able to like kind of explore your city a different perspective. That's where I led to, and that's kind of for me. What about yourself? What got you into it?
Geez, it's such a long time ago now. What was it? Honestly, and it's so cliche, but it was watching Casey Neistat ride around New York City on a booster board.
Dude, I know, right?
Like, I hadn't even heard about this guy, and I started watching his content. I went to work going, hey, have you guys watched this? This is a guy on YouTube called Casey, nice. I don't know what his name is. It was like, yeah, it's Casey Neistat. He's like world famous. I'm like, where have I been? I've never seen this guy. And I was like, of course, I want a booster board. And like everybody, this is like everybody's same story. They go online to buy one. I'm like, that's $2,000. I can't afford that. And so, start looking around, and we have Amazon over here now. We didn't have Amazon at that stage. We only had eBay. And so I looked on eBay, and there was a $500 dual hub electric skateboard, real Canadian maple. 2 amp hour battery, Lingy ESC. I was like, ooh, this sounds just as good as a boosted.
Absolutely.
So made the purchase. It arrived 8 weeks later. No charger in the box.
Of course.
Still had some battery. Jumped on it the very first time. Hopped on it, and the board bent a little bit, and the metal enclosure that ran the length of the board bent and never went back because it was like shit, rubbish aluminium. I don't know what it was. And so the board constantly always had a bend because the metal was strong enough to hold a bend on the board.
Oh my God.
And so that was my first ever board, and that was my first introduction. That's actually the same reason why I started my channel, because before I bought that board, I watched a number of reviews from reviewers who all said, it's a really good board. It's good value for money. And that just pissed me off. I was like, there's so many rubbish reviews, lies out there that I wanted to try to make a difference and be a bit more honest with those guys and make stuff. So I went from there, and the next one I got was a Timo, and honestly, I love that board. Timo got a bit of flack, but that thing, I hammered that thing, and it just never stopped.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. I mean, especially in the review world, you want to be an honest and straightforward reviewer in that sense. And you're like, right, you can get on something and have someone praise something to no end, and then you jump on it, and it's the most miserable experience you've ever had. And that's horrible. I mean, that's absolutely horrible.
Coming back to your first experience. For anybody who hopped on a Meepo V3 or earlier and fell in love with it deserves a medal, because those early Meepos were so jerky and and as you said, it threw you off. It was probably in speed mode 1 because those Lingys were just their acceleration curve was just so direct. It was up and then just no power at all.
Yeah.
And those V3s, once they got into the V4 and they started doing their FOC Lingy, like they worked with Lingy and did their own ESC, but those original ones were just horrible. They were dangerous.
Right.
They were jerky, but they had adjustable brakes, so some people liked them. But yeah, those V3s, if you loved that, every board afterwards would feel amazing.
It was true. And actually even better, yeah. So I bought it used from this girl in Philadelphia. I went online. I was so amped. I was like, I will drive to Philadelphia, which is like an hour and 20 minutes maybe from me. It's not that far. And I was like, I'll meet you halfway, whatever it is. She's like, I'm kind of busy today. I'm like, I'll drive to your front door. I was like, I have cash in hand. She was like, done. So I drove to Philadelphia. This little girl comes out with her boyfriend, and she's like, showing me how it works and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, awesome. I'm like, great. Bought it, drove home. A week later, I had a motor issue. Literally the ESC like blew out on me. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was like, and it only had, on the odometer at least, it only had like maybe 20 miles on it. Like the girl didn't use it at all. Yeah. So I was like riding, all of a sudden, like it started like stop, like mid ride. It was like kicking me off. I was like, no, what is this? And so I went home, and I'm somewhat of a tinkerer. So I used to build my own race like FPV drones. So I opened this thing up, rip it apart, looking at it, swap the motor cables right away. Motor works on the other one, doesn't work on this one. Swap it back, doesn't work again. I was like, this thing's shot. So went online and literally bought from the Meepo website like the updated 6.5 version, like and swapped that in there, and it was in there for up until I sold it recently. I was just like, I can't even look at this thing.
Those old boards, like the old Meepos, the Timos, the old Welgos, the only one boards, like you name it, all those old ones, those hub motors they all used, they were just bulletproof. It was almost always the ESC that went, because the ESC was just cheap componentry. The motors were just, when you think about it, it's just copper and magnets. There's very little that can go wrong except for the connectors. And that was the great thing, right? If something blew, you could just go get another ESC from any company and just plug it in. It just worked.
Someone even told me, they're like, oh, pick up the Fox box. Like, I was like, the Fox box? I was like, what? I was like, no way am I dumping a $300 or whatever it was like into this thing. I'm looking, I'm like, no, man. I was like, this is like if I'm building my own board, I'll pick this up. I was like, but I'm not. I was like, it was online for like $50 for the other one. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I was like, the Fox box was like, I think it just like stopped. They stopped manufacturing it for a hot second there too. So I was just like, it was all over.
It would have been massive overkill.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. What's up, Fred? I see you in there.
Craig's asked a question. What are your own everyday rides? So what's your go-to board?
Oh, I don't even have it here. It's at work. So I work a regular 9 to 5. So my 9 to 5 is I manage a building, like literally it's a senior housing building. So it's like 62 and older, low income housing. I call it it's 220 apartment building. It's like I call 220 grandparents. I bring my son or my daughter there. Everyone like he's getting like chocolate from them and everything like that. But I constantly have to run out. My town is like, it's perfect. It's a PEV friendly town. I don't know if you guys seen a couple of my other videos, but it's very, very electric friendly forward. They have their own like Link scooters, like those rental scooters in there. We're one of like the first ones in New Jersey to get it. But I'm constantly running out to do errands, whether it's like I'm going to get a cup of coffee or I have to go to the bank or whatever it is. So for me, it's actually my two boards, the Meepo Mini 2S, like the little tiny skateboard one, just because it's absolutely fantastic, and just to be able to throw around and like literally like jump off curbs and stuff like that. And then the X-Way X1, or the Riot, the Max, X1 Max. Is that the new one?
Max, the
X1 Max,
X1.
Yeah. So I just got that one, and it's so light, and that's what I love. It's just like I'm able to pick that up. I had the Wave, but the Wave was actually my friend's, so I gave it back to him. But I would probably rock the Wave even. It's just like simple, like you just everyday kind of thing. But like my go-to every single like day ride thing is my Hurricane. I just love that thing. Yeah. So I would say like I'm doing like a group ride.
Hurricane's an amazing board.
It's what got me into YouTube. I would even say like I was riding skateboards and riding one wheels and stuff like that, and then like that came out, and I was like I'm just gonna go for it. Like I think it's like one of those things. Like for me, once I get in a hobby, I got obsessed with it, and I started doing research, and I found your channel, and I saw Daniel Kwan's channel, and I found all these other guys, and I was like, I want to do this so bad. I was like, I want this board so bad, so I bought it, and then I was like hooked. And I actually, so other than my 9 to 5, I do my 5 to 9 is what I call it. I do commercial videography and photography. So like I do weddings, I do commercial shoots for companies and magazines, stuff like that. I had the gear. I had all the gear. So I was like, why am I? My wife was looking at me and she's like, was like 2021, right before 2021 New Year's, and she was like, "What's your New Year's resolution?" I was like, "I'm doing a YouTube channel," and she was like, "Yes, this is the greatest thing ever. We'll do like a family travel channel. We'll like go around. We'll like get free trips." I was like, "No, no, no, no. I'm gonna do like electric skateboards," and she was like, "No, horrible idea. Don't do that to me." I was like, "Come on." I was like, "This is gonna be great. What are you talking about?" I was like, "It would be fantastic." I shot one video. Or two videos, I'm sorry, submitted it to the Meepo contest and won the Meepo V4. So that was like my first ever like,
that's right.
my first ever like win. Was just posting like my second YouTube video thing of me just like gliding around my town on my V3, and then they're like, hey, they reached out to me. And they're like, we would love your video. We want to, you won the video contest. I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. So
Meepo are very much like I like them to Beyond and Nobleman, a couple other brands that really invest in the smaller creators, like the up and comers. They don't go, well, no, you need to have 10,000 subscribers before we send you a board. Meepo will be like, hey, we like your style, we can use your footage, so here's a board. Same with Nobleman and Beyond. They'll be like, hey, you guys are making cool content, we'd love to rep you. Here's a shirt, here's some pads.
Yep.
It's massively changed from when I first started trying to get into it. And every company would be like, no. It's so cool.
I'm still getting that. Trust me.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I mean, I got the nose until the 2000 number or something like that.
I know. Yeah, you were telling me that. You're like that. You're saying that it took forever. It's actually it's crazy how quickly it's progressed for me in the journey here. I would say
that's what I mean. It's the way creators and companies collaborate together now is just completely changed. Even just in the last 2 years, it's it's cool. It's good because it's allowing so many more new and up and coming creators to get access to things and actually make amazing content. I'm not a good skater. I'm not a good editor, but I love doing it. But there's people out there way better than me at both of those things, but they have a way smaller audience, and it's so cool to see companies giving them the kickstart that they need.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, it's huge. It's absolutely huge, and it's such a growing hobby, such a growing niche, and you only want more and more people to get into it. And I love seeing that. I love growing the community. I love seeing that, and I think it is helping everyone. Once you kind of like more people's eyes on products, gets more people interested in the sport, and gets everyone just grows. One hand washes the other in that sense. Yep. What about you? What's your everyday ride? We never answered that.
Yeah, well, I've still got 3, and this is my standard answer. I always give this answer because if I start thinking about it too much, it'll just keep changing. The Tiny Mini 2, that's just my go-to board. I just love having you got to have a mini board in your quiver, in your stable. The Meepo Hurricane belt drive. I do love the gear drive, but it's just a little bit too heavy at the rear, I feel.
I agree.
But it's still an amazing board. The performance is just, and the sound is awesome. But the Meepo belt's always in my car, and my V12 EUC from InMotion.
Oh, dude. Do you see this Black Friday sale that's going on right now? They're like on sale for like $1,700.
That is so cheap for a V12.
It's so cheap. It's so cheap. I was like, all right, I'll just put myself into crippling further debt and just pick one up on the credit card. My wife is like, you're gonna die if you do that. So it might be waiting.
You can always. There's probably ways you can reach. I mean, you've never ridden one, so my advice would be to actually learn to ride. Go and buy a cheap rubbish one, or buy a secondhand one, borrow one. Go to a learn to ride at one of the EUC dealers. Learn to ride, and then reach out to a couple of distributors, or reach out to like EVs in Canada or something, and say, hey, I'd love to get a wheel and borrow it for a month and make some content. Because once it's just like skateboards, right? Once you make the content, you'll get the awareness from other brands. So InMotion tends to be the one that does support creators. Kingsong very rarely sends out units unless you're really big, like Adam at Wrong Way or Mike Leahy or whoever else. But Begode, so I know Fred, he's got a Begode. They just don't send stuff out to creators at all. They go, no, contact your local dealer, they can lend you one. So, but InMotion will work with creators, which is really cool.
It's a bit shitty. Not gonna lie.
No, I guess they're they're very expensive, right? They're not cheap. They're not $1,000 skateboard. These are $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 devices.
Oh, it definitely is insanely expensive. I think that's kind of like the problem that I find.
Yeah. Any more questions in there? I can't see the chat anymore.
Oh, hold on here. What does someone say? Hi guys, is it worth to buy Mad Wheels when I have tubeless tires for my Hurricane? Totally two different worlds, man.
Yeah.
I
It'll make your
love
Hurricane very low to the ground.
yeah, and for me, I love the Mad 105s. I think it's like my go-to street wheel right now. I know there's a couple other companies out there that have some stuff that is in the works, and I've ridden a bunch of other ones.
Yeah.
But my Mad 105s, like they're just grippy and they're high enough. Like I rode 90 millimeters through New York City, which is
Mm.
not recommended. That's talk about low. It's just like not recommended. I
Yep.
was pretty much on the edge of my toes the entire time. But I think like the 105s, like because the 110s are just a little bit too big. 120s are just a little bit like range killers. You're entering into all terrain at that point
Yep.
area. So I think that 105 is like that really beautiful sweet spot for me. And the grip and the sound and everything about it was just like perfect. And I hit like 35 miles an hour on my Meepo with those wheels. So I can definitely test that they're like they're pretty fantastic in that sense.
Yep.
What we got
Yeah,
time here?
Mad Wheels are good. I've got the new X-Way Hydros to test out. I haven't taken them out of the box yet, but they look beautiful. They're I think they've been made in conjunction with Cloudwheel. I think I read somewhere. So it's a co-collaboration. Oh, you got them as well? Yeah, sweet. That's them. They've got the same rubber outer as the Cloudwheel Rovers. So those gripped fantastically well. So if these ride like the old boosted or even the same as the Mad Wheels, but with a bit more
Yeah.
grip, they'll be insane. They'll be so cool.
Yeah, Hydro. It literally looks like a tread pattern. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's nice squishy. It's got that density. Like I said, I haven't ridden the Rovers. I haven't tried out the Cloudwheel Rovers yet, but I do like my 120 Cloud wheels. Yeah, my 120 Cloud wheels.
Yeah, these will be interesting.
I just cleaned everything up back here. This is like my whole section over here that like my wife came up here. It's like if you're gonna start shooting like more stuff up here, like this needs to be clean. She's like, it's a disaster back here 90% of the time. Such a wife moment. She came up here and literally cleaned everything up. But yeah, these wheels.
My first or second live stream, I at the end I was watching back the footage and I was like, there's a pile of my undies in the background.
Just waiting for that. Just like ooh, dirty underwear. Sorry.
Oh no, they were
that.
clean. They were just sort of stacked up in a pile. I was like, well,
even better.
Everyone wears them.
Even better. I don't know. Was there anyone else in here? Well, I know one other thing we can talk about. What's your time looking like? I know you said you only got a few.
I can give you 8 more minutes.
All right. You're coming to America, right?
Yes.
Coming to America.
Coming to America, yeah. I'll be doing my Eddie Murphy and coming to America. Yeah, March 19th
yes.
to
Fuck
58.
you too. I'm so excited to finally meet you.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to meeting yourself and everyone else. Like all the guys in the community and the creators and the brands, like catching up with Eric and the guys from Shred Lights and so on. It's gonna be cool, and meeting the M-Board guys and just actually meeting, because most of my audience is in America. So that's just gonna be so cool. Like I've said so many subscribers and followers sort of messaging on Instagram saying I'm coming, I'll see you there. And I've had to say to them, well, make sure you come over and say hi, because I'm not going to recognize you.
I have no idea what you look like, so you know what I look like. Come on over and say hi.
Yeah, make sure. Like I'm literally going. I'm getting a tracksuit made, and I'm getting some T-shirts made up to wear around, saying "Come say hi." Because I don't know who you are.
That's brilliant.
Getting a really
ugly. What was your first in life YouTube? Like someone recognized you on YouTube. What was that moment? Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, it was a while ago. It was really funny. I was skating back to the car with my friend, and this car sort of came screaming down the road, and we sort of went through like a little cut through bit, and he went screaming around. I was like, oh, he's in a hurry. Then he came screaming down next to us again, and he like pulled up and he was like staring at me. I was like, this guy wants to fight. Like I wasn't even on the road, and he just started, "You're Scott Davies." I said, yeah. He's like, man, can't believe I'm seeing you in real life. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm lost. Who are you? He goes, you're on YouTube, right? I'm like, yeah. And he was just taken back. He like jumped out. He wanted a photo. He wanted to get a photo standing with my board. Wow. It was so funny. It was so funny.
That's pretty funny.
But what happens more often than not is people sort of looking at you funny, like I'll get it all the time. People will come into the shop and they'll be looking at me and they'll be like, "I know you from somewhere." I'm like, "Yeah, do you watch YouTube?" They're like, "Oh, that's it." Like they don't, once you don't have the cap on or you don't hold a
Right.
skateboard, and
Of course. Just
it's
another
so
faceless
funny.
person in the crowd.
Exactly. Yeah, it does. Yeah, 100%. You get the sunglasses and the cap off. You just blend in with everyone else. So it's quite
Yep.
funny. What about
Yeah.
you? Have you had that magic? Have you had that magic moment yet?
Yes, he's a great guy. His name is Stan. He comes to my group rides all the time too. Just a really nice guy. But it was one of those things. I went to New York City, which I don't know anyone in New York City, and I was on I think it was actually the Hoyt UAV demo day. So it was like when the Hoyt came out, they brought it over to New York, and it was right after I did the review on it, like the whatever instant review on it. So they're like, "Hey, do you want to come up in the city and hang out?" I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I went up there, and he came. Like I was like staying there, not saying anything to anyone, just like hanging out in the background. He was like, "Are you Drew Ely?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, He's like, "Dude, I watched you on YouTube." I'm like, "No." I was like, "That doesn't happen." I was like, "This doesn't happen."
You're like, "Hang on, let me push record and just do that all over again."
No, I didn't. Like, I literally was just like, "Nah, that's not right." But yeah, no, he's a great guy. It was way too funny. So yeah, so when I started hosting, he lives in New Jersey. Came to New York because he's like, I saw that you were going to be here. He's like, I wanted to come say hi. I was like, oh, that's great. And awesome. But yeah, he comes and hangs out. He's a good friend of mine now. So it's I love that. I love that community. So it's pretty fun.
I really wanted to fly into. I mean, I'm coming all this way. I really wanted to get to New York, but it's just too far.
Yeah,
like it's already a day of flying, effectively a day in the plane just to get to Vegas. So I did play with the idea of going into LAX and spending a couple of days in LA and California and then driving to Vegas. But I was like, I'm just going to go straight to Vegas. And the M-Board guys said the whole week leading up to the event they're going to have group rides and barbecues and just fun doing things. I'm like, I'll just go early. I mean, I've never been there, so I want to go and experience it and hang out at the pool. A couple of. You never been as well?
No, never been to Vegas. So we have it's called Atlantic City in New Jersey. It's like the only other like
I know what that's like.
It's like the only other like outside of Vegas like casino resort that's like kind of like it, but it's really just a scummy town at this point. But yeah, it's nothing like Vegas. But yeah, I've been to that. Like everyone goes there for their birthdays and they turn like 21 or whatever. So
it's like the Gold Coast for us. Everyone goes to the Gold Coast for schoolies.
Exactly.
The one thing I want to organize, and I want to organize it with as many creators as possible. So like yourself and Fred and Craig and Jack has Wi-Fi and all those guys there. And I think Ryan will be there for Eastgate Mafia. I'd love to get us all on the Flying Fox, the zip line. It's a 9-person zip line that goes right down the middle of Fremont Street.
Oh yeah. I've seen that inside. It's like that dome.
It's an outdoor one. It starts outdoors, 11 floors up. And it goes 5 city blocks, and it ends up above a live music stage.
Down.
Now I thought that'd be cool if we can get us all on there at the same time.
Yeah,
we'll have our GoPros. It'd make some pretty cool footage, I reckon.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm gonna get there early. I'm trying to get there, fly in like Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come home
I get there
Monday.
Sunday, so I'm literally there the whole week. I'm there Sunday till Tuesday, I think.
Nice. Is Craig coming with you too on the same flight and everything?
He's trying to, because we're in different states. I'm in Queensland. He's in Victoria.
Okay.
But the Air Canada flight that I'm getting is actually a really good flight. It's like 13 hours straight to
Vegas.
Vancouver. No, what's the other one?
Oh, Vancouver.
What's the other
British Columbia?
No.
British Columbia?
Vancouver. I can't remember now. The one that's just above Vegas. It's literally just 3 hours above it.
In Canada or in
Canada,
America?
Canada, yeah. I don't remember now.
Quebec?
Anyway, it's
Toronto?
No, it must be Vancouver. It's Vancouver. So it's 13 hours from Brisbane to Vancouver. There's like a 5-hour layover, which is fine. And then it's a 3-hour flight down to Vegas. So
yeah, that's nice.
All these other flights were like Brisbane to Sydney, Sydney to Singapore, Singapore to LAX, LAX to Vegas. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like
so really by the time you get off the plane, it's like a 48-hour time difference. You've lost 6 days of your life.
Not even that. I'm super disorganized. I'm like the least layovers as possible for me because that's the least amount of errors I can make of missing my flight.
I made one hysterical mistake when I was in my honeymoon. We were in Iceland. We were supposed to fly from Iceland to Paris. Yep. We misunderstood completely. We were at a bar, hammered, wasted, drinking champagne. My father calls me and was like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "Not much." He's like, "You dialed me?" I was like, "No, what's going on?" He's like, "Are you at the airport?" I'm like, no, I don't go until 12 o'clock tomorrow. He goes, no, you go 12 o'clock midnight. I was like 20. It was in military time, and I was totally fucked. So I'm just sitting there. I look at my wife. I was like, we're like very much late right now for our flight. Packed everything up, drove off. Missed the flight completely. Got on the next flight, whatever it was the next morning. But we slept in the airport. Had to drive around Iceland in the middle of like this pitch black, trying to find a gas station to get petrol and everything. It was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster.
Wow.
But yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I agree with you. The less flying back and forth or stops along the way, I 100% agree is easier for everyone.
We flew to New Zealand once, and it was over a leap year period. So it was February when there was a leap year, and I still swear to God, the airline actually made a system error, because when I booked, like I used to fly a lot for work, right? Like every month pretty much. So I was really military disciplined with flights and all that sort of thing at times, and we just rocked up a whole day late. Like we rocked up to the airport, we're like, hey, just checking in. We had no idea. Just checking in. She's like, I don't see you on the flight. She's like, so your flight was yesterday. We're like,
No. It was the 20.
You made a mistake.
It's the 29th of February, I thought, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so funny. We had to pay a fortune to get home, but then my wife, who's much more level-headed than me, she wrote this really well. Like she literally found the CEO's email address. Well, she just guessed it. Like she just found his name and just put a dot in the middle and put at Air New Zealand.
Yeah.
And he responded. He responded like 8 hours later saying, I've passed this on to my customer service team, and they refunded the whole thing, saying we're sorry for the inconvenience. We shouldn't have done that. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I have to fly because I have to get ice skating with my daughter.
You got it. Practice.
Yeah, not my practice. Her she's got ice skating.
Her practice. Oh, you're not doing the figure skating? You're not going to go out there and skate?
Not today. I think I'll do that tomorrow. It's competition tomorrow. So
beautiful, nice.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, this has been fantastic. I mean, thank you so much for hopping on here and just checking this out, and hopefully everyone in the chat here. It's been absolutely fun, and I know I missed a few people. What's up there, Drew Marr? What's going on? I saw him pop in there for a second. But yeah, I think this is going to be a new kind of chit chat that I have. Maybe once a month. Like I said, we have a few people already lined up to come on here. So, and then hopefully
lock me in as a regular if you want. I'm happy to do this. I love doing this.
Absolutely, yeah. I think this will be great if we can get more people logged in on here and get some more people from the industry and from content creators and stuff like that. Just come on here and say hi. Yeah. But yeah, man, I really appreciate it. Have fun with your daughter, and I'll talk to you guys later.
I'm gonna leave you with Snoop Dogg.
That's it. Well, guys, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this content, I just leave some comments down below, and thumbs up on this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All those YouTube fun things. And otherwise, I'll see you guys around soon. Thanks so much for stopping by. Peace.